Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning,
Good morning,
all our
Rotus.
viewers out there. We're going to start with Canada. Yet again, you've had economic headwinds taking out another leader. I mean, you've seen what happened in the US. You've seen what else now? The issues in Germany, France, and so on. So we put together a few things as far as the economic weights that pulled down Justin Trudeau, and it's a number of them, right? First of all, food prices have been outpacing wages in Canada. So you've got a cost of living challenge there. Even though inflation has come down from like 8% during the pandemic down to about 2% levels, people still do not feel like things are getting better. Housing crisis, rent has just skyrocketed. You've got an issue with the supply of houses is not meeting demand. So mortgages have gone up, rent has gone up as well. Then jobs, unemployment is at about 6.3, 6.4%, it's above 6%. And, unfortunately, it's the immigration policies of Trudeau, which, on the surface of it, were not that bad. From the pandemic, he was looking at getting about 500,000 immigrants into the nation. He's had to come out, I think it was October 2024, when he reversed course and said he made a mistake because the influx of immigrants have actually added pressure to social services, pressure to, getting jobs, and also the housing crisis as well. And then Crystal Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister, Finance Minister that resigned over the approach to Trump and the incoming tariffs, expected tariffs, and also spending as well. Trudeau, increased the deficits in Canada by wanting to spend more on getting, helicopter money out to people. He was trying to put more money into universal health care and dental care, and she was trying to keep spending down. So all these things essentially came together to pull it out. So again, the economy and economic headwinds continue to, unfortunately rear their ugly head when you look at what's been happening to a number of leaders in the West. And we go from there to streaming. The big news yesterday is that, just to back up, Fubo, which is a live streaming service, sued Disney, Fox, well, primarily Disney for putting this deal together. If you remember a while back, Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers came together to form Venue. Venue is supposed to be this new joint streaming service where they would join forces and stream sports content. Fubo is also a streaming service and they offer sports. They sued on antitrust concerns, saying that this merging of forces between Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers would be detrimental to competition. And it actually got the court upheld it and actually delayed it. So Disney now made a deal with Fubo and essentially merged their streaming services. So what we've seen now is that Hulu Live TV is going to merge with Fubo Live TV. Together in North America, they've got about 6.2 million subscriptions. Disney will take a 70% majority stake in it, and Fubo will run the rest of the 30% stake. And then Disney is also supposed to pay them, give them about $220 million up front, and then there's supposed to be like another $125 million loan or so for operations in 2026. Now, the deal, I know we've been covering the Golden Globes and all the television shows that have been winning awards and so on. For original content on Hulu itself, that is not part of the deal. This is just the live streaming service. David Garland, who is the CEO and co-founder of Fubo, actually commented on the deal on an investor call, saying that this transaction represents an incredible opportunity to build a consumer-first live TV streaming company. At deal close, our company is expected to become immediately cash flow positive, and that is as a result of the $220 million, which you can see as a settlement that Disney is giving Fubo for the lawsuits, instantly making Fubo the major player in the streaming space. So the streaming, and they're going to expect to compete with YouTube Live TV, expected to compete with Netflix, and as everyone has seen, Arise Play has been advertising the fact that we'll be streaming a lot of our award shows from the Golden Globes to the Grammys and so on. So do subscribe to Arise Play, and it shows you, that even Arise News is very much in the streaming space. Let's get to Nigeria. We have Cardinal Stone coming on the Global Business Report to talk about their 2025 economic outlook. This is the cover of the report we'll be talking about, which is titled Pressure to Plateau, Nigeria's 2025 Economic Outlook. And you can see that, I thought this was very creative and it inspired something within me, but you can see they're coming down from a mountain. So basically the economic headwinds Nigeria is facing and the economic reforms, you can look at mountain tops and peaks and troughs as volatility, and a plateau is a flat line. So the cars are now, essentially coming down. I got derailed and used an AI tool, an artificial intelligence tool. And look, I have to talk to the students out there and folks, please take advantage of AI tools. The sky is the limit to what you can do. I used a text to video prompt to basically just say, to make the cars drive, and then the cars started moving. I could have added anything I wanted. I could have made people run across the road or a dragon to fly across the screen. Now, of course, the only issue with AI here is that this content belongs to Cardinal Stone, so I can't make money off of it because they, likely will lead to litigation, which is what we've seen in the past. But you can essentially take still images and animate them, almost anything. Really, I encourage everybody to do take advantage of AI in terms of creativity. It's really something. Now, it's not perfect because
I was going to say your truck is already
running over cars. Right, if you pull it back off, let's pull that back. I did make a good observation there. You can see that. Let's pull that image back up. You will see the video where there's a truck to the left of the screen, which is
you overstepped it.
Which is that's the one on the left, right? So you can see it running into cars. So it's not
Lagos traffic. You cross over to the other lane, to the next lane.
So it's not entirely perfect, but it just shows you where we are with AI. But anyway, look, the point of the report, just to get back to the economics of the matter, is that they did highlight an economic paradox in Nigeria, which is low unemployment yet high poverty. Nigeria's economic poverty is low unemployment. You all know about the rejigging from the Bureau of Statistics, where 1 hour of work now counts as being full-time. And as a result of that, Nigeria's unemployment now is at 5%. You saw me talking about 6.3% unemployment in Canada being high, and Nigeria is at 5.3. So you can see Angola, South Africa, 32.3, 32.1, and then you see Ethiopia, Rwanda. But if you go all the way to the right, Nigeria, which had 30-something% in unemployment, is now at 5.3. Yet, when you take that unemployment, and they have a chart in their report, which we're going to get in depth, you will see that if unemployment is so low, then why is poverty so high? And there it is. So you look at the blue line, which is the poverty rate. So you've got Zambia at over 60%. Rwanda at what? Over almost 40%. Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is close to 40% poverty, yet the unemployment rate in purple is so low. So, you have to now look at the methodology of unemployment, and then whether or not these jobs, which are mostly driven by the informal sector, are actually productive, right? So that's what we'll be getting into. It's a conversation that really does need to be had. Finally, on tragically, we have a report from our team in Abuja that looked at an explosion, a tanker explosion that killed, I think, about 4 people. Sadly, the governor, the deputy governor of Delta State went to commiserate with them. But there was also the impact on SMEs and the businesses that were damaged, which has brought up the case of insurance. So take a listen to a couple people whose businesses were impacted.
I was at home when I had a distressed call. So I ran down to my shop, that my shop was on fire. So before I could get to this place, the shop is already burnt down. You can see my shop under lock and key. I couldn't pick a dime out of my shop. Before I could get to this place, the building is already on fire. So I couldn't help it than to stand and be watching my shop, my Nairas burning down.
I'm dealing with electronics. I'm full of electronics, televisions, fans, and many things. But now, nothing, no single thing come out from it. Fire raised everything down. So I'm pleading to the kind-hearted individuals from Nigeria, for policies, anywhere government to come to our aid, because we have nothing to start from.
So look, you heard that gentleman, they're saying we need government to help us. Right, but look, we really need to do a better job of awareness campaigns of insurance, because if those businesses were insured against fire, explosion, riots, weather, they would be covered. Nigeria's inflation, I keep saying inflation, Nigeria's insurance penetration is less than 1%. It is really poor. And every time we get a fire in a market, a destruction, the people say government, we have to do better with insurance. That's our updates for today.
I mean, gosh, you've wrote so much. Very quickly, I think what you highlighted when we're looking at that report concerning the economic outlook for 2025, for me, it just comes down to being a data issue, a statistics issue. I will never ever get tired of advocating for a census, because if you look at all of the parameters that are used, at the end of the day, this is all based on assumption, because we don't even know how many people are, what the population of Nigeria is. So even if you look at the GDP per capita of 877, how did we come up with that figure from an estimated population? So there's a fundamental issue there, and some people won't understand it. But you're an economist, so you understand that we need those numbers. They're very important. The other thing that struck me was in this report, you didn't highlight it, but when they were looking at the agri sector, now we're talking about inflation hopefully coming down this year, but we know that food inflation is playing a very pivotal
40%.
role. And this report is saying 258,571 cultivated farms were affected by flooding.
Right.
Gosh, how are we? 258,000 farms.
Right. And
gosh,
again,
it's a tough one to recover from.
Thank you,
Insurance.
Thank you.
I want to talk about insurance.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Rotus, for bringing up the numbers. I'll just give you some of the statistics. Talking about statistics, because we need numbers, like you often advocate, to be able to make decisions that make sense. If not, it will just be estimates, it will just be speculations. And that also goes to the job numbers. If we're not prepared to be honest with ourselves in Nigeria, we're not even ready to fix the problem. If we're still putting ourselves at 5% unemployment rate, then it means we're not ready. We have low unemployment rate, low poverty rate. It doesn't add up like you mentioned. But the numbers, rate of insurance penetration, this is done by Leadway Insurance. They have statistics, just a few numbers, 0.5%.
Wow.
So you can imagine that only 0.5% in terms of our population actually embraced insurance. For health insurance, it's only 3% of Nigerians. And when they talk about personal finance, they often say that you are one health challenge away from poverty, from bankruptcy, from poverty. Then imagine those who are already poor. It means that one sickness could just, that's why we see so many appeals on social media. Like you've mentioned, we keep putting a lot of burden on the, yes, the government is responsible for a lot of things, but sometimes we put what should be our personal responsibility on the doorstep of the government. In terms of car insurance, we've done better because of legislature.
Right.
So maybe we should have some legislature in terms of insurance, especially for small businesses. In some organizations, it should be part of your startup package, whereby you must insure to a certain level your business against risks like this. So we have 3.4 million out of 12 million cars in Nigeria that are currently insured. Again, like I mentioned, it's because you have, and what they get is third-party insurance, let my people go, just so that they will not disturb you in terms of VIO. So the numbers are really low. And beyond that, it's also a business case for insurance companies. If you look at other, developed countries, insurance companies are the big monies. It's not just the banks.
Bigger than banks.
Yeah, bigger than banks. So these are some of the things that we should begin to look at. So I'm glad you brought up the topic of insurance. We look at this, okay, let's fundraise, let's all come together, raise money, when that's the purpose of insurance.
Right. Okay, government has a position called Commissioner for Insurance, which is to be a very prominent position. And then you also have government coming up with what they call the National Health Insurance Scheme. It didn't work. So either at the government level or at the private level, insurance doesn't work. Either it's in Nigeria where petrol tankers, catch fire and destroy people's shops, or Katamanto market fire in Accra, Ghana, destroying scores of shops. You see that nobody takes insurance seriously. I think the major challenge to address the low penetration of insurance will include continued, concerted public enlightenment, public education. The second thing is that people are skeptical about insurance. When they tell you, we are selling this policy, now before you know it, the devil is in the small print.
Yes.
The next thing you hear is that no premium, no insurance. And that has created a lot of skepticism within the society. Number three, of course, also, is the fact that Africans generally, whether they are Ghanaians or Nigerians, are very superstitious.
Facts.
They will tell you that it's God that protects anything. They build a house, they don't bother to insure it. They build a car, they say, no, my car is covered with the blood of Jesus. So once the blood of Jesus has covered it, why do you want them to do insurance? They say my Lord is the greatest insurance. So public education is important to minimize all of this. So it's also a cultural thing. Quickly, as for Trudeau, I said earlier on that the defining factor is the collapse of the minority government that he leads. But you are right about economy being a major issue. We have seen that trend. Even in the United States, Donald Trump won in part because they thought he would do a better, economic management. In Ghana, where today a new president is being inaugurated, the major issue that took out the new patriotic party out of power was the economy. Yes. Because the reforms introduced by the Akufo-Addo government during 2 terms failed. And Ghana found itself in a situation whereby inflation was over 50%, unemployment rate had gone through the roof. Even the mining, they discovered 2 extra gold mines and 2 oil fields in 2019. Even that collapsed. And the people went to the streets to fight about Galamsey. So people will always think about their economic welfare. But at the end of the day, in Canada, the Liberal Party is out and out.
Yep, that's
so
correct.
Even if election takes place, they cannot win. Yeah. But the bigger challenge that the next leader in Canada will have to face will be Donald Trump.
Oh, yes.
Who is saying he's going to impose 25% tariffs, and who is saying that Canada is not a worthy sovereign state, it should be an annex. Yeah. Now, the Canadians have said they are going to put security measures along the border. Now, those security measures, would they address the issue of tariff? When it gets there, we'll see. Finally, the U.S. National Defense Headquarters has placed a ban, more or less, on Tencent, saying Tencent and CTAL are Chinese military establishments. Yeah. Tencent holdings have denied, even if they are, share stocks, their stocks have gone down 1.74%. But the U.S. has been doing this since 2019, blacklisting Chinese companies. Yeah. Either it has to do with semiconductors or it is Huawei that they are blacklisting. So the trade war has even started.
Before Trump coming in.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.